What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. I hope everybody is doing well. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I appreciate y'all. I don't have no sound effects today because um last night when I was streaming on after hours, I realized that it's much different from being in a studio or being back home in the studio where I know I can control what's happening with the audio and the internet connection and stuff like that versus being here. So we here. What's going on, friends? I see y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to tap in and tune in. I appreciate y'all for always holding us down. Says hello from your favorite city of Chicago. What up to Chicago? What up, sister? Larry Walker, Pravin, Zeroy, Slan sells cars. I feel like I ain't seen Slan sells cars in a long time. What up to Slan sells cars? I appreciate you. They said, you good, AD Trini Life? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. What up? What up? I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. Rita is adamant on trying to convince me to get a place down here. That don't make sense. I'm looking at them over the rooftop over there. This city is pretty insane. It is pretty crazy. My view, because I actually am facing out of the window, almost want to open up the whole balcony part so that I can actually get some air coming in here and stuff like that. But it's cool. It's cool. I see the construction workers working on a brand new building. That's going to be another sky rise over here in Miami. I was telling the people, nah, I don't want to move down here. No, hey, James Johnson said, as I'm trying to figure something out, did you message me on WhatsApp? All right, so listen, let me say this again. There may be some new people here. Yes, Miami is going to the sunken city like Atlantis. I believe that. I want to make sure that I am very clear about this before we get started with the show, before I hit y'all with prayer, before we actually read any cash apps and super chats. I did not, I will not, I don't have any alternative ways to contact people. I don't reach out to people on WhatsApp. I don't reach out to people on Instagram with some alternative account. I don't reach out to people on TikTok. There is a lot of spam on YouTube with fake accounts that then be inside of the comments saying, contact me. I want to connect with you to show you my secret method. That is not me. Okay? That is not me. I will never reach out to you on any platform whatsoever. I do not have any ulterior accounts. There's a lot of scammers and some spam and stuff like that that is going along. When I see it, when we catch it, we address it. But y'all gonna have to be mindful and vigilant and don't fall for no scams. Trust me, I will never be desperate enough to reach out to people on a personal level to ask them to invest in anything. I don't ask people to invest in anything. I don't have any courses to sell you. The only thing that we do is we teach you how to do it for yourself. I don't have any investment funds for the people. I don't do any of that stuff, okay? So I want y'all to understand, if anybody ever reaches out to you, it's not me. The only way that I do business in real life is through email, to where we have a chain and knowing exactly what happened when, and we can trace back into everything. Again, if you need to reach out to me, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. Okay. The only social media platforms is the ones that you see down in the description of the video. So if you don't see that in the description of the video, that's not my account. I don't have any alternative accounts. I don't have any super accounts. Hey, follow me. I'm not going to rock out with you on WhatsApp. I don't do any of that. All right. So for anybody that may be new here, I want y'all to understand that I will never reach out to you on any alternative platforms. If you want to tap into the community, if you want to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, make sure you tap into the Patreon. You sent me your Bitcoin. Where's your 200%? Make sure you reach out to me on Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. All right? Don't fall for them scams. Don't fall for these. It is some people. I heard somebody reach out to somebody. It's funny because one of these scammers, they actually reached out to Rita and was like, do you know me? Would you like to invest? Would you like to invest so that I can give you a turn? And Rita was like, yo, where are you from, man? Because this is not you. And the dude was like, how do you know? I'm in Nigeria. So again, y'all got to be careful. Don't send anything out. Don't interact with people on the internet. Go outside and touch grass, like my girl Molly said. We got after hours tonight, and be very, very careful. All right? Be very, very careful. Don't do it. Don't do it, family. All right, y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Again, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We got a lot to cover today. Anton, you looking like Jeezy in that Miami weather? I don't know where people always get that Jeezy stuff from. Let me see. Let me make sure that I acknowledge the people on Cash App. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Shamara McKay. I appreciate you, says Rita had on your favorite color. All right, Shamara. Annie Marie Lewis. Oh, I also want to say that I forgot to do the end of the live stream. I think it was like 9 or 10 super chats yesterday that I missed at the end of the live stream. I apologize for that because it was not intentional, and I want to make sure that y'all understand that. I always like to acknowledge everybody that support the platform. So I appreciate every last one of y'all. ESDC, I appreciate you. And Mike, that dude, thank you for holding me down. Let me read a couple of the super chats. Mick the Mo says, someone check Carrie temperature today. She was on fire last night. I like our mix and group of people. I love after hours. After hours is going to be on tonight. I love Molly and her. She like to give her own personal opinion. Carrie give her own personal opinion. Mika give her own personal opinion. And Slimmy and Q Diddy is just Slimmy and Q Diddy. Shout out to them. Jeremy H says, I emailed a clip of Cat Williams going off on a Mexican heckler who was saying anti-American nonsense. Yeah, I've been seeing that viral go around. What's up, AD? Is the USAID being used to money launder for the Democrats? I believe that it's being used to help everybody get rich on the Democratic side. But we're going to deep dive in that today. All right? So, first and foremost, we just want to send up a quick prayer. Lord, bless us all to be focused this weekend. I personally woke up and thought that it was Saturday. I'm just moseying around trying to figure out what I'm about to get into. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's Millionaire Morning Show. And so, I had to go out and do what I had to do and get it popping. But bless us to be focused and not being distracted. Bless our fellas to not have boxolitis this weekend and getting distracted by the box. Bless our women to stay focused and not get, I'm going to have to think of a different name for the women. But bless our women to be focused and not to get caught up in these streets today and this weekend. And bless us to stay on top of things. We love you. We appreciate you. Give us a great show. And bless it to be entertaining and edifying for all of the people that's watching it. I love you. I appreciate you, God. I pray everything in Jesus' name. All right, y'all ready to get started with the show? And shout out to Annie Marie Lewis, says thank you and appreciate all that you do. And all of the AD channels. Thank you, Annie Marie. I appreciate you also, love. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started with the show. I am using a different software. You may not be able to tell right away, but that's the whole point. Using a little bit of different software because I want to make sure that we ain't out here messing up and pummeling the bag. Big J all day says, good morning, chat, and salute the Time Dog and the Chasers. If y'all not a part of the Patreon, y'all need to become a part of the Patreon. Salute to you, Big J all day. All right, let's get to it. First things first. Let me see how we're gonna do this. Let's start here. Trump is banning men in women's sports. All right, it's a pretty simple concept, but I see a lot of people is protesting against it. Let's deep dive into it and let's find out what's happening in these streets, man.
These kids are going to be deprived of community, friendship, and learning opportunities out of cruelty.
It absolutely is a win.
It's the latest development in a heated national debate around transgender athletes in women's sports.
We will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
President Donald Trump following through on a campaign promise, signing an executive order titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, which he says will be enforced immediately. Joining the president, women and girls of all ages, like 12-time All-American pro swimmer Riley Gaines, who's been waiting for this day for years, speaking to Nightline in 2022.
Not only were women kind of put in this position where we have biological males competing against us, we were put on the back burner for biological males.
If one girl is knocked off of a team because a male competed on that team, one girl is knocked off of a podium, that is one too many.
This is a huge development. It's a big cultural issue. It's divided the country.
Under the new order, schools that don't comply risk having their funding cut.
It's also a maximum use of federal power, using the power of the purse to tell them how they should run their sports.
Advocates celebrating the move, arguing that allowing trans athletes to compete could give an unfair advantage.
In many ways, it's President Trump finishing what he started in his first term, to again ensure fairness, safety, and privacy for women and girls.
But trans advocates say it's discrimination and a violation of human rights. We first sat down with Leah Thomas in 2022 when she came out as trans.
That looked crazy, fam. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Come on, y'all. Come on. That looked crazy. That looked crazy. Do you know, like, the bone density is different? Everything is different. And somebody said, well, this is low-hanging fruit. I don't believe that this is low-hanging fruit. I believe that a lot of the things that we see and we experience today is a gateway into something much more demonic, personally. I believe it's a gateway into stuff that's much more demonic. And it also baffles me how people can align with the Democratic plantation, yet they say that they believe in God. I'm going to take it there today because it's Friday. I don't understand how people say that they aligned. You know, I was talking to my mom on the phone. Some of y'all actually witnessed that yesterday. And one thing she said is, oh man, I'm so glad that they're getting that out of women's sports, but Trump is the devil, right? And I be thinking to myself, if Trump is the one that is actually standing up for biblical principles and traditional families and doing things the right way, how is he the devil? Because I was always taught that the greatest trick that the devil ever proved was something along, I forgot what the saying is because I don't study the devil, is convincing people that he didn't exist. So why would the devil be right in front of you in your face, showing you stuff when the devil is supposed to be there to kill, deceive, destroy, and all of that? If his whole idea and agenda is to cloak what he does under the guise of righteousness or diversity, equity, and inclusion, or human rights, or, oh, but we're going to do it great for the people, then why would he be so overt, right? Because I don't even think that the major problem has anything to do with trans. I don't think that that's the play. I think that that's the play for the play. I think that the initial play was to hijack the civil rights movement with feminism, and then to hijack feminism with LGBTQ and all of the letters of the alphabet. And it's very much cloaked in secrecy and demonic activity. I believe that the next play is for them to say, well, if I can justify how I feel, and if I can identify as something based off of what I think is inside me and in my mind, then why can't we justify how we like children? Because you can't help how you feel. You can't help what you believe that you were born. It doesn't matter if you were biologically this thing. The only thing that matters is how you feel. And so how can you then persecute or prosecute people that like children, for example? How can you say somebody doesn't feel a certain type of way? They're not committing a crime. Why wouldn't we be able to justify bestiality, for example? There is introduction of different conversations and legislation that is happening, including over in California, where people are saying we need to create a separate group and a separate community, and or add to the alphabet community people, add another letter, a couple of letters to justify how people feel, because they are being left out and it is a human rights issue. How can you deny somebody's human rights? How can you not? Don't you understand what case law is? Don't you understand why they cite court cases in order to be able to justify some of the ways in which they move it? The reason that they cite court cases is because if you pass one thing and justify it, then you can't deny something based off of the same principles. So if you identify as something based off of how you feel, and we're supposed to acknowledge it in the United States of America and in society, how can you then deny this people over here who's using that exact same precedent to justify how it is that they're going to move with something that you may disagree with, that we all know subjectively and objectively, we all know that it's wrong. But the first move, the first thing that somebody that's trying to deceive you do is they desensitize you to it. And you can always see when somebody is desensitizing you to it, because they'll say, well, why do you care? It doesn't affect you. And then that's when you start to get your tentacles and different things, and it starts to spread, and then we normalize it. And you see them having campaigns that say, normalize being broken, normalize having traumatic experiences. Let's all bond together. That's when they start saying, let's trauma bond. Let's all bond together. Normalize crying in public as a man. Normalize if you need to use the bathroom, you go to the one that's the closest to you. Normalize acknowledging this person's feelings. They don't say solve for the problem. They don't say, let's figure out how it is that we can get back to what makes sense. Why are we here in the first place? They're not asking questions. They just want to normalize room 9 activities. So now you'll have these people who say that they are scripture, biblical, believe in God, align with things, but every single thing that happens on the liberal side, especially on an extreme level, goes against what they would allow or justify their kids operating like. Look at it. Look at it on the screen. Look at it on the screen. Now imagine them using the same bathroom and playing in the same sports as your daughter. And tell me how it makes sense. Tell me how it makes sense. It's insane, right? It should be. If you don't think that it don't make sense and that it's insane, you literally need to go and get checked out and get your mental right. You're going to have to come and figure it out. I don't understand my own family sometimes. They'll sit there and say, I'm crazy because I deep dive and I support a platform and or a conservative base that align with the things that we pray to God for every single day. But then they'll turn the other cheek and ignore and don't even call out the BS when they see this very same thing happening in their churches. You see all of the sassiness. You see men coming in with wigs, going into the bathroom of the church, and then you know what they say? Well, we accept all in the name of God. It's blasphemy. It's disrespectful, and it goes against the very things that we was raised to believe. But they've desensitized you. They've normalized it. And so when Trump comes in and then signs legislation that says Hey, man, listen. Let's get back to common sense policies. We no longer going to continue to justify this nonsense. Everybody, oh my God, it's a civil rights issue. No, you just wrong. You just wrong as two left shit.
As a UPenn swimmer and found herself at the center of this fiery debate.
What has the reaction been in the trans community? Explain that a bit.
This executive order is among other executive orders and other legislative moves to further police bodies.
Y'all ready to go with the Millionaire Derailment Show? All right, let's get it. Almighty Suspect says, this dude got a shirt with his initials on it. Narcissism at its finest. Question. If I represent my own brand, because the community will then say, why are you wearing Gucci? Why are you wearing Louis Vuitton? Why are you wearing Balmain? Oh my God, this and that. I can't believe it. But if I actually represent me and I say, well, listen, I have my own custom shirts that I like to represent because we are all our own brand when we go outside every single day. We then represent ourselves. And so that is a reflection of me. I didn't sell it to you. I just like to align it with me. It's almost like getting your name on your cufflinks or getting your name on your custom shirts on the sleeves of your shirts or whatever like that. Are we overusing words? Is you having your own initials on you, not on everybody else, but on you, it's just a simple AD. Is that narcissism? No. Listen. Let's be clear. Kay Cooper, of course I'm always going to do me. But I always like to point out how everybody is sheep and followers and how they just say anything to get attention. And more importantly, how dumb society has reduced itself to be. How is having my name on my shirt narcissistic? Because then they'll flip on me and say, you shouldn't wear so much Gucci. You should wear your own stuff. But then they'll say, wait a minute, you're a narcissist if you have your initials on your shirt. Interesting. Let's continue on with the show. You know me, I like to address, the chat is my co-host for the show. Shout out to the chat. Chat Lives Matters.
Who is woman enough to fit into that category and be allowed to compete?
Thomas won an NCAA title that year in the 500-yard freestyle. Her success is quite rare. According to the NCAA president, out of 510,000 NCAA athletes, fewer than 10 are known to be trans. And yet her victory ignited a heated debate in women's sports.
You set the record. In many ways, do you fear that your success in some part triggered some of this backlash that we're seeing now?
It was hard not to sort of place a little bit of blame on myself that it's not because of me, it's because Republicans in positions of power are trying to control and limit our autonomy.
Let's look at this person, y'all. This is a person that was out there whooping tail, taking names, breaking records, and absolutely destroying women in their own sports. That is a man all day long. That is a grown man with a bullnose ring. You know, somebody pointed it out yesterday. I think it was Fi Brown. Shout out to Fi Brown. And Rita was telling me that all of the black women is now doing this new thing. And she said that they bring up, because I didn't even know how she's doing. She said they bring their fingers together like this. And the new thing is to say, clock that. And then Fi Brown pointed out, I think it was Fi Brown. It was somebody in the chat. He said, Anton, that is a move from a transgender, mentally disabled person that made a new dance because their body is crooked on the side. And so now, is that what you said, Rita? Because their body is crooked on the side. And that's the new dance on TikTok. And so they say black women love to follow gay men in the alphabet community and celebrate them by doing their dances instead of actually denouncing the nonsense. Yep, I guess the name is Shamar. And so what they did was they picked the most crooked bodied, bad built, wig wearing, crooked teeth, and then they made him a superstar. And now they dance like him and say stuff like clock that, right? So why shouldn't, listen, it takes a group of men. This is what's happening with the Trump administration. It takes a group of men to then rein these funky little hoes in line. It's Friday, right? Let's just get real. Because y'all listen, you're not offended by having this demon on your TV, but you will be offended at me calling him a demon. Y'all weird. Y'all so weird. You will be offended by me saying these funky hoes, but you won't be offended by a person that literally imitates you, dress like you, change their hair to be like yours, want to look like you, take your features, and will bust down your man. That's the world that we live in. This don't offend you. Them going in your bathroom don't offend you. That don't offend you. It don't offend you if I say ho. Y'all follow a dude named Shamar that wear a wig and don't even, and they face, their whole body is crooked. Reminds me of 300 when the little thing with the humpback wanted to be in so bad, and then they wind up trading against everybody else. Y'all follow anything. Y'all found the most ungodly, disabled thing to be able to fall behind, and that's the person that y'all follow. What makes y'all think that we want to follow y'all in y'all choices in life? All of y'all best friends are sassy. Every man that you've never been with is a jailbird, and then you got kids by him. And now y'all following a little deformed thing, and y'all saying that we don't know what we talking about, and we need to follow y'all to the polls too. I wouldn't follow you to the grocery store. Look at this thing. Look at it talk.
And how we can live our lives. And if it wasn't me, it would have been the next trans woman.
On the one hand, trans athletes and the people who support them say, look, this is who they are. And they would like to compete in the athletics that they love. On the other side of people are saying it's just unfair. Even some people who support equality and equal opportunity and a flourishing life in our society for trans people feel this is a step too far.
According to a 2023 Gallup poll, 69% of Americans believe transgender athletes should only be allowed to compete on teams that conform with their gender assigned at birth.
Now listen to this. Look at this. According to a Gallup poll, right? Able to play on teams that match identity. So we got the majority of people that say, oh man, they should only be able to play on teams that match the gender birth. Forget the 69%. Because first of all, where's the rest of the people? Well, what was it? A group of people that was undecided? Because listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the toolbox, but 26 plus 69 don't equal 100. 26 plus 69 don't equal 100. We missing a 5%ers. Where the other 5%? They didn't know. They didn't know what they was thinking. I'm concerned about the 31%. Really, this is a 31% versus 69%. Just take the other 5 and add it on. It's 30. That means we got almost a third of the population that took this poll that don't know or is confused about what it is that people should be doing. I'm not tripping about the 69%. I'm tripping about the other 31% that's trying to figure out what they want, or the other 26% that's definitively on the side that say, yo, you should go with whatever you identify with. We in a wild world. This is the wild, wild west. This is the wild, wild west. There is a group of people out here that will tell you that this makes sense.
We're talking about 12-year-olds who have lived their whole lives as who they are and are being asked to then play on a different gendered team.
Skylar Baylor made history as the first openly trans male athlete to compete in NCAA Division I sports, swimming for Harvard in 2015.
Look at this craziness.
Skylar, what comfort do you give to those who are
This is
feeling like this is a real turnaround, a setback for trans rights and the trans community?
I think this is something that's critical, and to validate those emotions while also reminding that we are absolutely capable of moving through this.
That's a man, y'all. That is a man that say that they identify as a woman and competing in NCAA sports. This is a man, y'all. Are y'all understanding what we seeing right now? No? Is this not making sense to y'all? Is this not making sense to y'all? Are we all on the same page or no? Do we all got to figure it out? Do we all got to try to better understand what's going on? I'm honestly, I'm deeply disturbed. I am deeply disturbed. This is Alina Habba that wanted to speak on this issue specifically, and this is what they had to say about it. Let's go over here. This is very much unfortunate.
Working as top staff in the Trump White House, Alina Habba, counselor to President Trump. Alina, great to see you tonight. Now, I thought President Trump was threatened by strong women. There seemed to be a lot of strong women in the White House yesterday.
That was a woman pretending to be a man? Oh, Jesus. Throw the whole society away. Throw it all away. Let's just start all over. I'm confused. We playing God at this point.
And girls.
Exactly. You and I, we love our strong women, and so does President Trump. And more importantly, he's protecting our little girls. And that's what he did, yesterday. And you saw those children's faces. It was great. They don't have to have men in the bathroom. They don't have to be worried about getting hit in the face by a guy who's twice their size and 17 times their strength. It was ridiculous. And for once, and not only for once, always, he stands by his women and girls and all, frankly, fairness in sports. And he put an end, as he promised, promises made, promises kept on the campaign.
And the NCAA had to make their announcement that, common sense actually has to prevail now, that biological men and boys cannot compete against girls and women, obviously women by the time you're in NCAA. But again, as to President Trump's point on this, the fact that he had to do this executive order tells you how radical and far afield, Alina, the Democrats have just turned. It's insanity.
You know what's worse?
I'm trying to figure out, again, we don't have to keep beating a dead horse. We get the gist. What I'm trying to figure out is, for everybody, because I know that I have people, and I don't censor people. I always want to make sure that we all be able to have our say. So if somebody got a difference of opinion than us, that's cool. Or a difference of opinion than me, then that's cool. But what I'm trying to figure out is, how do y'all call yourselves Democrats? For you 92 percenters, 93 percenters, for you 78 percenters, how do y'all call yourselves Democrats? How do y'all say that y'all are part of this demonic party? Some people call them Democrats. How do y'all find yourselves a part of this demonic party? Let me read some of the super chats. We'll move over into the show. Bishop Cam Nelson, shout out to you. I appreciate you. Did you see that there's a plane missing in Alaska? Yeah, I seen that. It was a small little prop plane that was missing in Alaska. Jerry says the left was so concerned about women's rights, yet neglected biological women in our spaces. But Trump is the misogynist that signed this. Yeah, it's crazy, Jerry. Enforcer 2K9 says feminism equals the serpent in the garden influencing Eve to do what she wanted to do instead of what she was supposed to do. Manuel says MAP is a great example. Instead of calling them pedophiles, we want to call them minor attracted persons. Cynthia Haynes says them Democrats think that's slick, but they're really a sickening mess. Shout out to you, Cynthia. Causell says it's insane that they're referring to him as her. DJ A says the hit dogs are hollering today. Welcome to Fridays. And Anton is actually up to 79% now. It's crazy. It's insane. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Honestly, man, I am genuinely concerned about what's going on out here. Jesse Waters had a really good segment. I haven't seen a segment this good from Jesse Waters in a very, very long time. But Jesse Waters had a phenomenal segment the other day where he was basically breaking down that, you know, Trump and Elon Musk is exacting exactly what they said that they were going to do when they got into office with this whole situation. And I think that it makes sense. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Shout out to Jesse Waters. Shout out to Fox News. I want to review this with you guys because it properly summarizes exactly what's been happening over the past 2 weeks.
And for the deep state, got it all. Over 40,000 federal bureaucrats have already taken buyouts, and we're only in week 3.
We expect that number to increase, and that alone, just the 40,000, again, we expect it to increase. It's going to save the American people tens of millions of dollars, and we encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer. If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout, and we'll find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
Elon and his nerd army have been combing through agencies, blasting away bloat. 20-year-old dozers are clashing with lazy old-timers who don't know how to use a computer and are calling them idiots. And breaking news, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has just fired 90% of the administrators at USAID. They took a 10,000-man agency and streamlined it to 300 employees. The media is calling it the Trumpocalypse. CNN castoff Oliver Darcy says the American experiment is convulsing before our eyes. And he's flabbergasted that the media hasn't gone into round-the-clock special coverage. Quote, media executives need not fret about being the boy who cried wolf. The wolf is now in the barn and mauling the livestock. The Democrats in the media have never seen a president execute a mandate with speed and precision. The country voted for change, and we're watching representative government in the 21st century. The feds, they call that war.
Nobody wants to work in this type of condition where we're going to be in a psychological warfare for how long?
It's amazing, right? That, first of all, I'm just so impressed and so excited that we actually have a real president that is doing exactly what he said that he was going to do. That's number one. We have a real president that is doing exactly what he said that he was going to do. All right. The second part about this, which again is amazing, is that people are actually complaining that they are going through, because let's be clear, this is just the beginning. You got to realize that this is going to be going on for at least about 2 years. Okay. And so they're starting small, but they're starting with the lowest hanging fruit. And it's so obvious what is happening at this agency. And when people are revealing and they actually dropping all of the receipts every single day of all of the things that they are funding and where all of this money is going. And I can't understand why Americans, people that are born, raised, and as American citizens can vote, actually pay taxes. How can you be upset that they are going through every single agency, line by line? They made an example of one of the lowest hanging fruit, the USAID, and they said, listen, you got 10,000 people that are working at this agency, and we need to streamline this thing, and now only 300 to 400 people is working at it. And we also need to remove the amount of money that we're giving over into these diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that's not even inside of the United States of America. And we need to go through our federal budget and find out where all of this money and where all of this waste is going. You know that it's the loudest ones in the room that's complaining, the ones that's the hit dogs, and they hollering. I think it's going to get very, very ugly. I don't think that it's that far-fetched to think that at some point there's going to be some form of a crash out that comes very, very soon. And when I say a crash out, I mean that when you see what they did with USAID and they actually released all the receipts And then they also made it available for everybody to be able to quit before they even came in there. And since they decided not to quit, they just go ahead and laid everybody off, because we're not going to continue to give diversity, equity, and inclusion and transgender research topics over there to Gaza and Guatemala. I think that this is the warning. I think that the first thing that they were supposed to do was they went into this agency, they went in and they went line by line to figure out what was going on. They gutted the agency itself. And then after that, and I think that it's a bigger play here. After that, they then offered buyouts to every single government agency. Up to date, more than 40,000 people. I think that they extended it through Monday or Tuesday now because the judge wanted to extend it. Up to date, over 40,000 people have already took the buyout. And guess what? The electricity's still on. All of the buses are still running. For whatever reason, I don't feel affected. With all of the people that's been deported, with all of these government agencies, because again, I think that the main way that you pay for all of these deportations, the main way that you then start to, at some point, maybe in 2027, 28, start to actually see a budget surplus with the federal government is that you have to cut every single thing that is not serving taxpayers. When we say we wanted smaller government, this is what we mean. We don't need taxpayer money going over to God knows what, and we don't even have any visibility into it. And I don't think that is that far-fetched to think that there's going to be a major, and when I say major, I believe a major crash out, because the one thing that they don't want is they don't want him starting to get over into military spending. They don't want to see what's really going on with these Social Security contracts and these government contractors. They don't want you to see what's really happening over in your sector and this construction in these buildings. They don't want you to see who's really the vendors for this infrastructure bill and its spending when it comes to the CHIPS Act. They don't want you going through line by line and finding out who the people that's really stealing all of the money, and they've been stealing it for a lifetime. Stealing it for a lifetime. I'm telling you that they don't want this crash out. The real terrorists, you're going to see who they really are. The real terrorist is not somebody in a mask that's hijacking a plane that wants to fly it over into the World Trade Center. That ain't it. The real terrorist is your next door neighbor. They live right next to you. They voted Democrat. They believe that we're supposed to continue to send your tax dollars overseas. They paid ops and they out here protesting in front of the Treasury. The real terrorists, the real treasonous people, you know them. They live with you. They hang out with you. You might even go to church with them, and they may even be a bottom. The people that ain't tripping, the people that's just like, man, yeah, I want to see where the money is going. You know that they good. They ain't tripping. They've been taking care of business, doing things the right way for a long time. If you see somebody pop up on TikTok and they sitting there whining and complaining, no, be with a weary eye.
Where we're going to be in a psychological warfare for how long?
Other federal workers, not revealing their names because of concern over retribution, described to NBC News fear and panic, an Orwellian nightmare.
Federal workers are worried about payback and psychological warfare. How do you think the whole country's felt for the last 20 years? Having to tiptoe around DEI, hauled into HR for jokes, canceled for an opinion, watching Black Lives Matter light us on fire. A guy wearing a dress raped a girl in the girl's bathroom, and the girl's dad got arrested for raising his voice. A DEI bureaucrat at the Department of Justice making six figures who's going to get a buyout with an 8-month severance deal. They're not a victim. CNN's putting spot shadows on feds like their lives are in danger.
What is the general feeling across government amongst your fellow federal workers right now?
Grief. They're angry, many that are confused, but all kind of grieving in their own way.
How does it feel to be targeted for the work that you're so passionate about? It's okay, you could take your time.
Are y'all really crying? Yeah, man, these people need to be fired ASAP.
It actually makes me proud of the people that I've worked with and the things that we've done.
CNN
So
spot
stupid.
chatting a woman who's worked from home and now she's crying because she doesn't want to go back to the office. This is insane. CNN just laid off hundreds of employees to cut costs because their books aren't balanced because no one's watching them. No one's interviewing fired CNN staff, not even Don Lemon.
Facts.
Getting fired isn't a war crime. I've been fired 4 times. And thank God, because it turned out all right. Since when has CNN cared about people losing their jobs? They didn't weep when Biden waxed the Keystone Pipeline workers.
Facts.
CNN.
That is, listen, Jesse Waters, he's good. But I have never seen him cook like this. Not lately. I haven't seen Jesse Waters cook in a long time. And he is 100. Whoever wrote this speech, whoever the producers are, they was cooking. Nobody cared about when the Keystone Pipeline people got laid off. Nobody cares when the steel workers. I don't see any interviewers over in Gary, Indiana, trying to figure out how that place turned into a destruction zone. I don't see anybody going over into the east side of Detroit trying to understand where their jobs went. I don't see anybody going to kick it with former CNN staffers or MSNBC people who were laid off because their companies is in shambles and nobody wants to actually view their content anymore, asking them, what happened with your diversity, equity, and inclusion program? I don't see anybody going over into these laid off bankers or any of these tech workers or any of these people that's over here suffering and sobbing, that's a part of the private sector. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares. You know why they doing this? Is because they thought that they were safe, and they thought that as long as they got this job. I know people that have went into government, right? Went into a federal workforce for the government, and they did it and they said, I'm gonna take less money, but I know that I'll have job security, being able to practically do nothing for the rest of my life. It is a free check for a lot of people. You thought that you were safe, and we were subsidizing it by raising taxes, and then they wanted to tell us, hey man, the rich need to pay their fair share. So why? So I can continue to fund this BS? Nah. CNN's been trying to get everybody fired at Fox for years. If CNN doesn't like what you say, they call your boss. They call your advertiser. Hey, we got over 5,200 people watching this on YouTube alone. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Bag Chasers, the Patreon. We got some really good information in there for y'all to continue to level up. And then make sure you subscribe and then turn on your notifications. Let's continue to rock. They try to bankrupt you and boycott you. Random Americans who crack jokes on Facebook. CNN was putting them on blast, trying to get him canceled. Yep. CNN cheered on Biden for firing Army officers who didn't get vaxxed. They sure did. Guys who were willing to die for this country. CNN said, good, get them out of here. CNN's boss can lay off people. Why can't Trump? Bill Clinton fired almost 400,000 federal workers. That wasn't a constitutional crisis. The government had to slim down. Bill and Newt. Nobody tripped off of Bill Clinton. You know what they called him? Because he played the saxophone. Bill Clinton on the saxophone. And because Obama sang Al Green, nobody tripped. Trump came in with his pen swinging within the next 2 weeks, and everybody is in shambles. Oh my God, the whole United States of America is on fire. I still see everything just running regular and ain't even tripped. Ain't even tripped even a little bit. Cut the fat, balance the budget. And Democrats are acting like we're witnessing a genocide.
Let me remind you who set the House on fire. It was y'all. It feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected.
Fire Elon Musk. Elon Musk took control of our country's financial nuclear codes.
House Republicans have allowed billionaire Elon Musk and his gang of thieves to enter the U.S. Treasury Department, fire the people entrusted with secret private information about Americans, and give them that access.
Elon Musk is destroying our federal government. He feels he bought himself a president.
Now we've got Donald Trump and his co-president Elon Musk, and they're just running a wrecking ball through it.
Democrats want to audit you for a $600 Venmo payment. But when Elon audits the trillion-dollar government, they're ready to storm the castle. Why are Democrats shocked?
Hey, remember when Biden said that anybody that was receiving over $600 on Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, that you guys were going to have to be required to get your banking information submitted to the IRS, and that they were hiring over 80,000 IRS agents to make sure that you guys were audited? I seen a whole lot of black women that said that they was only taking cash from now on, and that they were no longer going to take a Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo for services. It was a whole lot of hairdressers, boutique owners. Everything was cash from now on. Everything went cash. Y'all remember that?
We're putting the government on a diet. Trump and Musk campaigned on it and won on it.
We're going to be very open and transparent and be very clear about this is what we're doing. Here are the issues. This is the math for what's being spent and what, you know, and we're going to make it. We're going to make the spending lower. And if somebody's got a better idea for how to make the spending lower, tell us. But if we don't, we're going to bankrupt the country.
I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. As the first order of business, this commission will develop an action plan to totally eliminate fraud and improper payments within 6 months. This will save trillions of dollars, trillions.
Democrats aren't surprised this is Trump's agenda. They're surprised he's able to execute it. Because after years of incompetence, no one thought anyone was capable of doing anything in Washington. Elon says there's a way to know when you're over the target.
One of the things I remember from the PayPal days was that, you know who complains the loudest is the fraudsters. Okay, so when somebody was trying to commit fraud to PayPal, where we would see the most amount of righteous indignation, like it would be like immediate over-the-top righteous indignation, was from the fraudsters, not from honest people. Because honest people are like, oh, I think there's something wrong with my account. I wonder what's wrong. Let me inquire. But the fraudsters will come at you immediately. It's like a tell that someone's actually doing fraud, because the level of sort of faux outrage is way over the top.
Elon does.
That's what you see happening within the Democratic Party right now. They are throwing everything yet but the kitchen sink at this thing. They protesting at the Treasury. They sitting there saying it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. They say that Elon Musk is taking over the federal government. They say that he has access to the nuclear codes. Would you want your private information to be found out and all of this other type of stuff? We don't even trip when AT&T get hacked no more. We don't trip about nothing. We don't trip about your information going out. We sign up on Red Note. We sign up on TikTok. We sign away our consent agreements. But all of a sudden, everybody is concerned about their sensitive information that's going out. You told all of your business on TikTok last night. We know who your baby daddy is. We know who his baby mama's with an S are. We know where you going today. We know where your location is. We know how much money that you got in your bank account. We know who gonna hit on you tomorrow. We know every single thing about you because you told all of your information and you show it to us every day on social media. You tell us where you live. You tell us where you're going to be at. You don't have no kind of privacy whatsoever. You want to be famous so bad. We know all about you. But all of a sudden, everybody is all concerned because, it's the loudest ones in the room that's the most guilty. Listen, I know Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, all of these people. I know that the Kamala Harrises and all of them. Do you know why Biden gave all of his people pardons all the way back to 2014? We've never seen pre-pardons before in our entire life. Before, you don't think that he knew what was coming? You don't think that the people knew what was coming? Listen, you know who you don't see no protesting from? You don't see Obama. He over there chilling with Jennifer Aniston. Michelle, nowhere to be found, chilling. Kamala Harris, ain't said a word. Biden, he over there on the reservation somewhere, him and Hunter. We don't hear a peep. Bill Clinton, nothing, nada. George Bush II, not a word. Everybody is whisper quiet. All of these Democrats that's protesting at the Treasury and stuff, all of these people that's whining and complaining, everybody, I'm telling you, bro, listen. What we are going to see probably over the next 2 years is going to be unprecedented. It is going to be the greatest revelation and revealing of transparency and information of all time. When you see people scrambling, when you see people making adjustments, when you see people getting uncomfortable and antsy, Elon Musk has told you what to look for. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. This is the hottest and the greatest morning show on the face of the earth. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move over to the rest of the show. Anton, a narcissist, has unrealistic beliefs and a need for validation. Talk about it, the witch doctor. You are the realest and don't give a stay on your square and keep doing what you're doing, dog. I'm on it, big dog. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Danny Shea says, can we get an executive order to remove the pregnant man emoji from yeah, that is crazy. Anton, looking Chemonics International receiving money from the USAID is why. Man, I've been tracking down all of these different things that people are saying that USAID is spending money on. It's crazy. Shout out to you, Michael Clay. Pravin, shout out to Pravin. Pravin says, I'm getting exactly what I voted for. Promises made, promises kept. Talk about it. Amen on one says, she said this is a psychological war, but for the last decade, they've been trying to damage the children's psyche. I agree. Laderick Adams says, I identify as a billionaire. They may be a bottom as crazy, but it ain't no less true, Jason Sharp. Pat the Reactor says, this explains why their net worth is so high when most politicians barely make over $250,000 a year. Nakia, shout out to Nakia. I appreciate you. Chef 673 says, I read in Colorado Gazette yesterday more of the list of corruption, up to 10 million worth of USAID funded meals that went to Al Qaeda linked terrorist group from the Nusra Front. Shout out to you, Bag Chaser here, says Nakia Jenkins. Shout out to all of the new Bag Chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Me University says, get out of debt or be a whole pyramid slave. Danny Shade says, half of the people crying about Elon Musk having their info have a 480. Can you get that low? Can you get the 489? The 489 is a real number and a credit score? And are talking about I'm scared of what he's going to do with my info. Can't buy a stick of gum on credit. Andre Farrar says, sir, two different feathers, same bird. Why do you trust Trump and the Republicans more than the Democrats to do the right thing and save government spending? Why not fund corporate tax cut and not fund corporate tax cuts? Let me tell you something. The reason why I actually believe this administration is because they're doing exactly what they said that they were going to do. That's why. I trust Trump and the Republicans and Elon Musk because they're actually doing what they said that they were going to do. I voted for exactly what's happening within the last 3 weeks. What do I have to complain about? It's not even about trust. I just want them to do the job that I voted for them to do. I voted for them to get rid of illegal immigrants that's not supposed to be over here. I voted for them to implement tax cuts to stimulate the American economy. I voted for them to go through with the Department of Government Efficiency and be able to audit every single branch of government to make sure that we are spending our tax dollars correctly. I voted for them to get some control over these Democrat cities. I voted for them to get men out of women's bathrooms. I'm not really sure if this is even a trust issue. I don't need to trust you. I don't trust the people that's on my job any more than I can throw them. But all I ask for them to do is to do their job. I don't give a piss about what you got going on in your home life. I don't care about what your thoughts are and all of this stuff. I need you to do what I asked you to do on the job. I'm not sure that I need to trust you. The only people that I need to trust is the people that I close my eyes around. And if this is the alternative versus what we've experienced from the Democrats, I'll take it. I'll 100% take it. I don't really care about what Trump does when he go to sleep with Melania. What I do care about is what he's doing, and he's doing exactly what I voted for him to do. So I don't know if y'all trying to justify or make yourselves feel better about what's happening, but it's changing. And shout out to my girl, Molly in the building, all in her drink. She ain't even know it. Oh, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to move over into this next thing, right? Because I'm really, really loving this girl. I am. I'm genuinely loving this girl. She is a whole nother thing outside of Karine Jean-Pierre, but she is absolutely phenomenal. And she's saying that the Democrats no longer have any other hill to die on than to run in the Victim Olympics. And then they need to hold themselves accountable for what it is that they've been doing to the American people. And so I present to you guys none other than my girl, Karoline. That's my homegirl right now. We go together online. Karoline Leavitt, and she's going to explain to you exactly why the Democrats are so mad.
I'm at the White House press secretary to dig more into this and other issues. Carol, it's great to see you. It's good to have our own private briefing today.
It's great to see you too. Thanks for having me, guys.
So the Democrats are really screaming from the rooftops about Doge, all centered around Elon Musk and USAID. Here's just a little bit of what they've been doing in the past few days.
First and foremost, Elon Musk. This is a dictatorship in the making. We're not going to have apartheid in America.
Hey, look at all of y'all black leaders. Look at all of y'all black government leaders. I have never seen y'all like to get on me for cursing, and I've changed my ways, especially on the Millionaire Morning Show. What happens on after hours, I can't have no conversation about. But I've never seen more Democrats cursing and saying some of the most evil things than I've seen over the last 2 weeks. I've not seen more cursing and anger from people than I've seen over the last 2 weeks. All he did was go out there and be able to cut government spending to things that we don't want our taxpayer dollars to go to. Why are they so mad anymore?
So here's the interesting thing. A Reuters Ipsos poll that was done right after the USAID news broke found that 56% of people would like to see all foreign assistance programs suspended.
Me too.
Which is leading a lot of people to say that the Democrats have picked a very weird hill to die on.
That's because there's no other hill to die on, because President Trump continues to deliver on the promises that he made to the American people on the campaign trail, and going through the federal government line by line and making this government more efficient is one of those priorities and one of those promises that President Trump made. And as you just cited, John, 56% of Americans support freezing foreign aid. And I read a fascinating article in the Washington Post today. They interviewed voters in Pennsylvania, and all of them said that they support President Trump and Elon Musk's efforts to make this government more efficient. What President Trump and Elon Musk and this entire administration is trying to do is make our bloated bureaucracy here in Washington run like a profitable business. And every agency has been tasked with going line by line and ensuring that the American taxpayers' money is aligned with the American people's interests. It's a common sense solution to fixing a decades-old problem of bloated bureaucracy, waste, fraud, and abuse. And the vast majority of Americans support it. So the Democrats can hoot and holler all they want. This White House will stay committed to delivering on President Trump's priorities and being good stewards of the hardworking American people's tax dollars.
All right, Caroline.
Why is that such a hard thing to stomach for people? Why are people so upset that Trump is actually freezing aid or freezing money going outside of the United States of America? Don't we all want this? Isn't it something that we all agree on?
Again, great to have you on the program. Sandra here. So as far as President Trump's federal buyout offer, we know that expires at midnight tonight. The latest we've heard is that 40,000 staff have agreed to leave. Before I get to my question, is that still about the number right now, 40,000?
Yes. Last I checked with the Office of Personnel Management, it was more than 40,000 and counting. And I would add that we encourage federal workers who don't feel like showing up to the office to accept this buyout program. It's a very generous offer from President Trump and this administration.
I wonder if that's about the number where the president thought he would be right now, or perhaps that might be bigger. Reportedly, and we'll ask you to confirm if this is the case, President Trump is planning mass layoffs if there are not more who agree to those buyouts. Is that the case?
I haven't heard the president discuss that directly, so I can't confirm that. But like I said, we do know that more than 40,000 and counting federal workers have agreed to this buyout program. And they are looking forward, I guess, to having their 8-month paid vacation. The president made a commitment that he was going to encourage the federal workforce to return to the office. We know only 6% of federal workers are working in the office right now. That's unacceptable. And that's why the buyout program was offered.
Wait. Only 6% of federal workers is working in the office right now. Y'all still ain't went back to work yet, and y'all still trying to figure out if y'all want to take the buyout. Okay, all right. He already gave you an example. Rita, you should check out the pool area. It's dope. They got a bar over there and stuff like that. What you about to do right now? Oh, have fun. He already gave y'all an example by eliminating over 90% of everybody, over 95% of everybody at USAID. Listen, I think that the best thing for y'all to do, if you are a federal worker, I know it's a lot of people that's watching this, almost 6,000 people that's watching this on YouTube alone. If you are a federal worker, I would advise you to think long and hard about this buyout. And the reason that I want you to think long and hard about this buyout is this here. All right. Listen to me very careful. Listen to me very, very carefully. All right. Think about the department and the segment of the government that you work in. Okay. If it is anything like USAID, and y'all know, if you ain't doing nothing, if your department is trash. If your department is a diversity, equity, and inclusion program. If your department got a whole lot of waste. If it's a whole lot of y'all that ain't doing nothing on a regular basis. How much you go out and get your nails done during company hours. This. If you don't ever plan on going back into the office. That if you actually need to get out there and hustle and grind, if your man is going to be taking care of all of y'all. Some of y'all need to get y'all affairs in order. Think about it. Think about it. You're going to have to get your affairs in order. Do not sit here and wait to the last minute. They've been telling you this since before they won the presidency. You need to think long and hard. You got really two options. Either you can hope that enough other people take it to where then you're not affected, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your department is not going to be slashed. Why? Because if it's not actually adding value into the American economy, and it's not actually doing something that justifies the cost of you being on the job, then it's a strong possibility you can get laid off. Strong, and I mean strong possibility that you can get laid off. You need to really, and I mean really, really, really take this long time off and assess your life right now. Us as private workers, we always be on the chopping block. They call us at-will employees. We are what's called at-will employees. If you're not a part of the union, it doesn't mean that you can't get laid off if you're a part of the union. They've always suffered also. They go through ebbs and flows and ups and downs. If you are a part of the private sector, you know that every single day, every single week, you got to put in time. You got to hustle. You got to show your value. That every single year we do evaluations. First, you got to do your own self-evaluation, and then it goes to your manager, and then your manager has got to say, you know what? You did right on this one. You did wrong, acceptable, not acceptable, overperformed, exceeded expectations, below expectations. It's a lot of y'all that may be watching this right now that have experienced what it's like to be on a PIP. a performance improvement plan. And that's the step right before they fire you. You probably got a 35% chance of still laying in the company. And so if you get a PIP, usually that means that you probably should start looking for another job. You getting paid, but you should start looking for another job. Every moment that you leave work, when you get home, you need to spend 3 to 4 hours looking for another job. That way that you're not having gaps in your employment, because it's a strong possibility you're going to get laid off. We've all been at-will employees, meaning that for any reason, for no reason, because they don't like you, because you not as efficient as you used to be, because you out of shape, whatever the reason is, for whatever reason, your breath starts stinking because you like to eat front butt. Who knows? For whatever reason, there has always been a possibility. And when you wake up in the morning, that could be the end of the end. It's just the way that it is. If you're a contractor, most people get in the technology sector from a contractor, right? You go in as a contractor, you take a chance, you get a 6-month contract, 12-month contract, 18-month contract, and then you hope to either renew your contract or hopefully you can get hired in as an employee. Always been an at-will employee. Y'all been sitting there enjoying life, judging us, having a lot to say on social media, thinking that you can say what you want to say when you want to say it, voting how you wanted to vote. You've been comfortable. And now everybody is going to have to pay the piper. I would encourage you guys to think very long and hard about what is about to happen, because it ain't no more safety nets.
I want to ask about the president's announcement on Gaza the other day, which seemed to take staff members by surprise. It's something that he had talked about, but they didn't know he was going to make an announcement. A few people I've talked to who worked there at the White House, when they heard that, they said, wait, what? I mean, it's an idea. Some people think that he's laying down the gauntlet to our allies to say, well, if you don't like this idea, have you got a better idea? But the question I have is, he went through the campaign saying that he wanted to get the United States out of its involvement in foreign entanglements. This would seem to be exactly the opposite of that.
I don't think so, John. The president has made it clear that he will not be sending boots on the ground in Gaza. He is not committed to that. He also has made it clear that American taxpayers will not be funding this effort. The president is trying to strike a deal to ensure that Gaza can actually be a habitable place for human beings who want to live in peace with real economic development. And President Trump is an outside of the box thinker. That's, again, why the American people elected him, because he has a different perspective to the foreign policy challenges that have been plaguing our world for many, many years. And so this is a great idea. And our partners in the region have begun to discuss it with this administration. We have the King of Bahrain coming to the White House next week. And the president has spoken to many of our partners and allies in the Middle East about this opportunity in Gaza.
Okay. In lines of all the spending.
We get it. We get it. Shout out to Karoline, my girlfriend. I appreciate you for giving us an update on what's going on in these streets. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats. Ooh, we see a lot of people that's feeling some type of way this morning about these potential layoffs and having to take a buyout. I voted for the same thing. Go AD MAGA. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Ray Ranger Bear says, first administration to do what they said. Jerry says, is that Karoline? Is SM is saying that Karoline is a DEI hire because Karine Jean-Pierre had more credentials, but Karoline is 27 and killing it. Karine Jean-Pierre was a terrible, sassy, big-headed. I'm adding some extra adjectives in there for you, Jerry. Terrible, sassy, big-headed, neck-twisting press secretary. All right, that's right. It's true. I work for the Department of Defense as a contractor, and most of the time the offices are only at 30% occupancy. Carrie Locke says the women are the real targets of federal layoffs, firings, no remote work, and buyouts. Maybe right. Faith says, Anton, I've never liked the song Ice Ice Baby more than I do right now, and have never seen demons more agitated in the flesh. I love it. Praise be. Shout out to you for continuing to speak the truth. They giving $2 drinks during happy hour in DC for government employees as a consolation prize because they're going on site every day starting on Monday. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, let's continue. Jasmine Crockett. Let's talk about Jasmine, because I've been seeing her everywhere. She is making her rounds everywhere. I would propose to you guys. That it is a strong, and when I say strong, I mean strong possibility that they are trying to push Jasmine Crockett to be a prevalent member of the new Democrat, younger version, 2.0, 3.0 revamped Democrat Party, people that they want to celebrate to be a part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion and try to take back Congress and the White House and all of this stuff. I know she's in Congress, but I believe that they're pushing her. Remember when I was asking for a long time and I said, hey man, who do y'all think is going to be up next? Do y'all think that it's going to still be a woman? And I said that I believe that they really want women. They really want women to be inside of the White House. Now, whether you agree with her or not, which obviously I don't agree with the overwhelming majority of what she says, it doesn't change the narrative that I believe that they are pushing her to be a part of the new regime and a new form of controlling what happens in the Democratic Party. Her and AOC, I seen AOC on social media do like an hour and a half, 2 hour live stream trying to break down how she's smarter than Elon Musk. Okay, waitress. But Jasmine Crockett has been everything. She has been on every single liberal media outlet. She's doing podcasts. She's doing all of these things. I believe that Jasmine Crockett is prepping herself to ultimately be one of the faces of the Democratic Party. It's the truth. It's the truth. But this is her pulling up on MSNBC and her basically saying that it is going to cost us too much money to deport illegal migrants that are committing crimes inside of the United States of America. And she's justifying it by saying this. And this, of course, she pulled up with Rachel Maddow. But this is her on Rachel Maddow, and this is what she had to say.
Absolutely. What should people understand about the rationale for protecting places like schools, churches, synagogues, hospitals from immigration enforcement actions in the past?
Yeah, I mean, this is very simple. First of all, I don't know my country anymore, right? When we are looking at situations that are so disruptive to our communities. And again, as you talked about the hero who wasn't necessarily wearing a cape, but instead had her coffee cup. When we think about the disruption to everyone because of something that really is a civil penalty, I want to get this across to your viewers, because I don't think that people understand that as Republicans oftentimes say things like, oh, they're illegal. According to federal law, you literally can get a traffic ticket that is more serious than what this is. It's a civil penalty. And so to have these guys disrupting you as you are trying to pray, whether you're an immigrant or not, you're disrupting a place of worship. Or tell me about what type of liability. I mean, even if you don't care about the people themselves, but tell me about the type of liability that we may face if somebody literally is trying to seek care.
She has to expand her vocabulary. She says literally every other sentence. She says literally, my daughter used to do that, and we had to get her a thesaurus. She says literally, and this person is literally. If she ever wants to excel and want to go any further inside of the Democratic Party in politics, and we're going to get to her talking point shortly. She says literally every 5 seconds, she's going to have to make some changes. She's going to have to get rid of the eyelashes. She's going to have to change and get a thesaurus. She's going to have to stop wearing so many middle part buzz downs, as my dog Quentin likes to say. And then she may get some traction. I think that people like Jasmine Crockett, but she's got to stop saying literally. Listen to what she says. Listen to how she talks.
Penalty. I want to get this across to your viewers, because I don't think that people understand that as Republicans oftentimes say things like, oh, they're illegal. According to federal law, you literally can get a traffic ticket that is more serious than what this is. It's a civil penalty. And so to have these guys disrupting you as you are trying to pray, whether you're an immigrant or not, you're disrupting a place of worship. Or tell me about what type of liability. I mean, even if you don't care about the people themselves, but tell me about the type of liability that we may face if somebody literally is trying to seek care and then you take them away from that care and into our custody, right? Like, it doesn't make sense, not to mention the disruption that it causes for everybody else that's seeking care. And now we're talking about the kids. We're talking about parents not taking their kids to get the education that they need, and the kids may be enjoying something that we call birthright citizenship, yet they're missing out on school because their parents are too afraid to drop them off. And the final point that I'll say is I want people to understand that undocumented folk in this country contribute approximately $100 billion in taxes, and they pay into Social Security that they can't pull down on. So you tell me how any of this makes sense, because the estimation is that it would cost us approximately $200 billion in the first year to try to effectuate this. And we know the Republicans are proposing that ICE be given approximately $350 billion. And right now that's causing a lot of consternation within the Republican caucus. And that is why we are headed to a shutdown on March 14th, because instead of cutting money, it looks like they are absolutely going to need more money.
So what she's saying, and I don't know how accurate this is, I don't know how true this is, all right? She's saying that us cutting $50 billion from USAID, which is one of the smaller government agencies that we know that taxpayer dollars have been distributing money to. Because a lot of times people like to say, well, how are we going to pay for the things that taxpayers or voters advocated for? And that's one of the reasons why Donald Trump won the election. And we control all three branches of government, right? She's saying that it's going to cost $350 billion. Now, let's be clear, because a lot of times they don't already add into the budget of what ICE or immigration or deportation or the Department of Homeland Security, because a lot of it is all folded into one agency. So, for example, Mayorkas, who was controlling Department of Homeland Security and was basically doing Biden and Kamala Harris's bidding and left the border open. We found out during the last election, once they tried to eliminate Trump and they tried to assassinate him, we found out that the Department of Homeland Security also controls the Secret Service and immigration and Border Patrol and ICE and all of these different agencies, right? And so they want to, this is how the Democrats do you, all right? This is how the Democrats do. They'll say, and they don't expect us to be able to know this or have these type of conversations because they think that we just C students and C students don't think. No, C students employ A students. That's how it works. But this is what they'll do. They'll say, and they're asking for $300 billion or this amount of money or that amount of money. And what they're not telling you is that all of these different departments and government agencies are utilizing this money because it's all folded under one umbrella. And so they're not allocating $350 billion, which I don't even know if this number is true, but let's just assume for the sake of conversation. They don't know if this money or this $350 billion is allocated towards, or they're trying to sell it to you that is being allocated towards only deporting illegal migrants. So chasing down people and the criminals and getting them up out of here or whatever and so on and so forth. This is what it's costing to chase down illegal migrants. In reality, this is what it's costing, assuming that this number is accurate. This is what it's costing to ultimately have all of these different government agencies doing their jobs, including the Secret Service and all of these other different places, right? And so they're trying to finesse y'all. Remember this. This is how you know the finesse is on, and that they pick and choose in order to use what talking points in order to justify their arguments. Remember when Kamala Harris and Biden was on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris when she was trying to become president of the United States of America. And what they were advocating for is for Congress to approve their budgets, which included a bipartisan agreement to fund Ukraine Taiwan, and Israel to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, which included one-time payments up to between 40 and 60 billion dollars that was allocated towards these countries over a period of time. And that was a part of the Department of Homeland Security and immigration budget in order to stop the flow of fentanyl and to make sure that we stop the flow of migrants from coming across the border. It wasn't to deport migrants. It was only to give us a couple more border agents, some more security, some more the government contracts for us to create machinery that will identify the fentanyl. No, it wasn't, hey, we're going to get more troops at the border. We're going to get this happening. We're going to get Mexico to get deployed more than 10,000 troops. We're going to get Canada to participate in this. They need to be able to stop the flow of it before it even gets to our borders in the first place. It was none of that. They made sure that they tried to pitch this bill, which included funding for all of these other government industries, probably through USAID, right? Probably through it. And so they were gung-ho. And one of the Kamala Harris campaign trail talking points was Trump killed the bill that would have added hundreds of billions of dollars for us to make sure that we can protect our borders, which basically was cloaked in different government contracts that allow for them to be able to finesse the money from taxpayers. But this is what they were doing. Now they're having a problem with the budget and trying to make it seem like, oh man, this is so difficult. This is going to cost so much money. They're against cost cutting. They're against not sending money all overseas, but they are against making sure that we have the money to make sure that these illegal people that's doing the most crimes, which we can't even fully identify how much it's truly costing taxpayers. Anton, why do you say we can't really get a number on it? Because we don't know how much it's costing in government services. How much is it costing to jail them? How much is it costing to feed them? How much is it costing to house them? How much is it costing in police services? How much is it costing in infrastructure? How much is it costing us per pupil when they go to your schools and they have not fed into the tax system? And so when we not really being honest and transparent, but we can use this as a talking point, and it's easy for her to do so because she has the credentials to say it. She has the credentials to then say, listen, I'm a part of Congress. I know what's going on and so on and so forth, but they don't want to have a real conversation. They don't want to be transparent with the people. They are giving you what we call a white lie. It's some fact, some truth, a whole lot of lies, a whole lot of bloviating, like my boy Stephen A. Smith likes to say, a whole lot of finessing in there. And then that's how they then get y'all to vote against your own best interest and get you to still be a part of the Democratic plantation. When we break this down on the Millionaire Morning Show back to a C student's perspective, I want you guys to understand that you smarter than you think. You just don't want to do enough digging. Remember my mother yesterday, she said, Anton, you're too smart for your own good. And your problem is that you keep digging. You keep digging. You keep digging. Well, I guess the thing that I should have asked my mom yesterday was, what's the alternative, Ma? Am I only supposed to take what they say on the surface and not dig deeper to understand the context by which they lying to us and telling us these white lies? Should I not dive in and try to understand where's our budget and how are they actually operating these government services and where's our money going? Because then I can make an informed decision for myself to know that the media is lying to me and selling this to me. Why wouldn't I dig? So the alternative is to listen to CNN and MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, give me the information and let Jasmine Crockett determine how I see things. I don't have a choice. It's my responsibility to the people. I can't endorse a candidate. I can't be able to talk and tell you exactly how you're supposed to think. I can't arm you with the information so that when you see these people that are running in the victim Olympics and saying that they want identity politics, I can't not give you the information so that you guys can be able to effectively have these conversations with these people. They lying to you. They're lying to you. We have to dig. I love my mom. But let me tell you something. My mother can't tell me nothing about what it takes in order to be a man to make sure that y'all are protected. And when real men stand up, mothers, even mothers, have to submit. When real men stand up and we stop letting women lead us, listen, no more big mamas. Big mamas is over. Big mama's house is over. Soul Food movie, we no longer watching that. We throwing that in the trash. When real men stand up and say, I'm not a part of the 78% that then followed the 93% over to the polls, but I'm a part of the 22% that decided to think for myself because my family need me and I need to leave this earth in a better space had I not been here, that's when women will respect you. That's when women will follow you. For all of you guys thinking that women will respect you or women actually love you because you're doing the thing that they tell you to do, I will tell you that they hate you for it. Women seek leadership. They want men to make the decisions for them. That's why she changed her last name to your last name. Or maybe she didn't. And maybe she's still using her maiden name because she don't even respect you enough to be able to change her last name. That's her daddy's daughter, not your wife. Oh my God, Anton is going off the rails. No, it's all relevant. It all comes back down to the same thing. I'm trying to tell you why it's difficult for me to listen to Jasmine Crockett. As much as people love her, as much as people think that she's a part of the next wave of Democrat feminists that's going to lead you into liberation and be able to hold you down, I'm trying to tell you that this woman probably shouldn't even be in Congress because she needs to be a follower. Y'all need to stop listening to these women that's leading y'all to the slaughter. That's why y'all got this diversity, equity, and inclusion, and Trump had to sign an executive order in the first place to keep men out of women's sports. Because you be listening to these women that can't lead you anywhere. You can take their advice, you can take them into consideration, but ultimately, this is what we supposed to do. We got to stand on our own 2 feet. We love our mothers, we respect them, and we would never disrespect them. But at the same time, they can't tell me nothing. Nothing. At all. Nobody can tell me anything when I'm the person that makes sure that you're taken care of. Remember that. Remember that. I'm the person that cut the checks. How can anybody tell me that I'm not supposed to think the way that I think and I'm the person that makes sure that everybody's lifestyle is taken care of? I know what's best for you. You can't tell me. I'm the one that knows what's best for you. I like to hear you talk. I want to hear your opinion so I can be more informed when I make a decision. But let's be clear. Complaints go up, not decision making. Decision goes down. The decision is for you to do this and make sure that you execute on my will. The complaints go up. The insight go up, the decisions go down. We don't listen to these people telling us what they think no more.
Let me ask you also about the impact as a representative from Texas, who's been right in the middle of the culture war over this, but also who represents a very diverse district. It strikes me also that with some of these changes, not just saying we're going to go after people wholesale and not just making it into a big propaganda spectacle and inviting celebrities and, handpicked media to go along to make it look like an episode of Cops. But in addition to that, by going after saying we want to go after people in schools and in places of worship and in healthcare facilities, the cruelty there and the impact there is to really isolate immigrant families or families that have mixed status so that they can't participate in the fabric of culture the way they do right now and in the basic fabric of services that we all avail ourselves of, so that they are more isolated, so they are more afraid, so they don't feel supported by their fellow Americans and the other people who live among them. I wonder if you think that is the aim, and if so, if there are other things that Americans who are not in immigrant families, people who do not face these same kind of threats, if what they can do to kind of bridge that distance.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's that, but I think it's even deeper than that. What we've seen out of this administration is nothing but chaos and confusion. That is how they, quote unquote, lead, right? And so here's the deal. Whether it's legal or whether it's not legal, it has the same effect, right? So he decides, you know what? I'm going to make a big spectacle out of getting rid of this executive order. And then next thing you know, we're having to file legislation to try to protect. But who's keeping up with all of this drama that's happening? At the end of the day, it's whatever news headline they saw last or or first, or whichever one they feel most comfortable with. And so right now what we have is that they have been able to inflict fear. This is why you brought up Texas, and this is going to impact Texas a ton, as well as the rest of the country. But even when we start to think about the farms that we have in Texas, or we think about the fact that he even tried to do his little tariff war with Mexico.
His little tariff war.
Mexico and Texas, we
how disrespectful that she is. You see how disrespectful that she is? I can't listen to no more. It's only so much that I could take. Anyways, let's continue to get out of here. We're not even going to entertain this nonsense. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move over to the next part of the show. 7 years of feast are over. Welcome to the 7 years of famine. Gonna have to leave the strong white black woman behind. Nope, we're not gonna leave him behind. We're not gonna leave him behind. We gonna drag him, kicking and screaming. What in the World TV says, if they're undocumented, how are they able to pay taxes? Chef 673 says, does she hear herself? She doesn't recognize her country anymore. So you did so 4 years ago? Then she talks about the children of illegals. What about the missing UACs, undocumented alien children, as we call them, 300,000? They don't want to talk about that. In addition to the wars, the Biden administration was sending $40 million a month. Is that true? $40 million a month to the Taliban. Why are Dems funding terrorism? Because Dems are terrorists. Ladybug Reseller says the real swamp is a scary place. When you drain it, it reveals all the truths and secrets to be lost and covered up. Chef 673 says, and how in America are illegal immigrants paying taxes? How? And why are people talking about hiding them in their attics? Find those missing children, but she don't want to speak on that. Y'all cooking today. Anton, time to drain the swamp. Let's go. Jeremy H says, King Solomon's brother was conspiring to kill him. Solomon found him in a church and dragged him out to kill him. 1 Kings 2:25 by illegals. Her lashes, he's a joke. Can't take her serious. Mythology Noir says, we are done with Eve telling us the serpent is a more loving leader than God. Talk about it. Y'all cooking today. They are simply selling us as sins as freedoms. Dems are done. Hey, you should invite her to the show. Should be great content. I don't think that she would ever come on the show. Peace, Anton. Whatever happened to the sister from ATL that was being vocal for Trump early? You had her once, the sister from ATL that was being vocal for Trump early. You had her once. I hope Trump looked out for. Oh, you talking about Michaela? Yeah, Michaela's my dog. I was just talking to Michaela yesterday. Michaela's doing well. Michaela's good. Peace, Anton. I told you I need Trump in New Jersey. Shout out to Andrea Robinson. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to hold us down. Let's move over into the next part of the show. Jasmine and the lunch ladies crack my ears. Hey, remember what happened to the lunch ladies? Y'all remember what the original lunch ladies were? It was Vivica Fox, Lisa Ray, and it was two more lunch ladies that was on Fox Soul. What happened to those lunch ladies? Y'all remember what happened to them? Anyways, let's talk about Tom Homan. Tom Homan is saying that the border is always talking about military action against cartels, and he's saying that protesters that impede ICE raids could find themselves in handcuffs. I want to start with that part. Protesters that impede ICE raids could find themselves in handcuffs. I want to talk about that for a second. Yeah, let's start with that one. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Orders are Tom Homan. Look, Tom, I have so many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. This is not a game. When we show up these sites, this is a dangerous job for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and all the DOJ agencies. To have that type of interference puts our officers at great risk. Not only the officers, It puts the aliens at great risk because anything can happen when we take our eyes off the goal here. So we're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today, operational security, how these leaks are happening. We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today.
Interesting.
It's all about controlling the message. I try to be transparent. I promise American people will be transparent in operations, but it's obvious we can't be having all these different news outlets out there with us on various raids. Bill Maloogian, great guy, but we got a lot of OPSEC concerns we're dealing with right now. But the leak, who we identified today, we'll deal with that today. But it's not a game. I want to put it out to whether it's Governor Phil Murphy or the rest of the people that who want to game this. It's not a joke. This is serious business, and they need to stop or we won't prosecute them through the Department of Justice.
Yo, that's wild. You see how y'all mess it up for the rest of the people? Shout out to Pan African, BMG, Tao. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. You see how they mess up things? Now they're going to have to ban the media from doing right along with ICE agents because they leaking out information and they're actually helping illegal migrants. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? Why would y'all do that? Why would y'all put yourselves in that situation? Or why would you actually put agents at a disadvantage that then prevents them from A, even being able to do their job, or B, making it unsafe for ICE agents that's actually trying to protect you from illegal migrants that's not supposed to be here in the first place? Why would you do that? Why would you mess it up? See, y'all mess it up for everybody else. Now you are op. Don't make sense. Why would y'all do that? You so ignorant, so stupid.
Justice.
Look, I know our audience was paying attention when that agent or officer told our reporter Bill Maloogian there have been some intel leaks. Like, those are very specific. So I understand what you're saying. You mentioned my state's governor, Phil Murphy. Yeah, he's trying to walk back the comments that he made about possibly, I guess it would be aiding and abetting if you're keeping somebody on your property. But we'll see what happens. He says that's not what's happening with somebody he thought was on his property or said was. I do want to ask you this because I've heard you say, Tom, that you expect more violence. And you were talking specifically on the border, but why would that be?
Well, look, President Trump is, promises made, promises kept, right? He said he's going to secure the border. The numbers are down significantly. Look, and we talk about between the port of entry. I know you reported earlier the numbers down about 67%. Actually, between the ports of entry, because that takes into account port of entries. Between the ports of entry, we're down closer to 87%. As we lock that border down, we're taking money out of the pockets of the criminal cartels, right? They've made record amounts of money in the last 4 years, smuggling aliens, sex trafficking women and children, moving drugs across the border. As we secure that border, their business is going to drop, which means billions of dollars less they make. They're not going to go away quietly. So I truly expect violence to increase on the southern border just because of who they are. That's why President Trump has designated them a terrorist organization, because they are. They've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. They're not going to go away quietly. So we're going to expect more violence on the border. But let me get back to interior. What Phil Murphy says, when he goes out there and does this, plays this game, if the governor can do it, he sends a message to the whole world, they can do it too. Again, putting our officers at great risk. It has to stop or they will be prosecuted. I'm working very closely with the Department of Justice to hold people accountable. This stuff ends today.
Well, look, I had Voters' Voices on the program live yesterday and was talking with people about what the first 16, at that point, now 17 days of this has been like. Here's what one voter told us.
I go to Chicago and I see the immigration crisis at the forefront in front of my school on the corners. I don't think we should wait until unpopular mayors like Brandon Johnson lose their elections. Their number one goal should be to be understood, and that's using their bully pulpit, that's advocating for the people that pay tax dollars to them. It's always, whose humanity are you looking out for? Wow. And why not us, that we're paying so many tax dollars?
And that young man, one of the Democrats we had on the panel who voted for Donald Trump this time around. Your reaction?
Look, I think the American people, they gave President Trump a mandate. It's immigration, the border security, immigration enforcement is number one, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise. I looked at the numbers this morning. ICE has already arrested just short of 12,000 people in this country. Vast majority are of criminals, public safety threats. And that's what we're trying to do. And for any mayor or governor who doesn't want public safety threats removed from the communities, I find it hard to believe that. But we're going to do it, with or without them. If they're not going to help, get out of the way. But don't cross that line. Do not impede our operations. Do not knowingly conceal or harbor an illegal alien, because we will seek prosecution. We're going to do what the president promised American people. We're going to make our communities safer by targeting those who are in the country illegally that have criminal record or a public safety threat. That's what we're doing. But if you force us into the community and not let us get the bad guy into jail, that's going to put the community at risk. It means more collateral arrests, means more non-criminals being arrested, because when we find the bad guy, which we will, there's going to be others with them, others that may not be a criminal priority, but we're not going to instruct ICE to walk away from like the Biden administration did. We're going to enforce immigration law.
I tell you, Tom Homan, you have those gang members and illegals on the run, with reports of people trying to move around the country now to get away from operations that they know are coming and maybe tipping each other off. We'll see. We'll cover the stem to stern, especially as you find out what happened.
I like to call Tom Homan Mr. Incredible, because he kind of reminds me of Mr. Incredible on The Incredibles. I don't know if y'all ever familiar with that cartoon. It was a really great movie. I like The Incredibles. I don't think that I had seen Incredibles 2. Did I see Incredibles 2? I remember Jack had started developing powers. But I like to call Tom Homan and Mr. Incredible because the dude is relentless. You need people like that on your team that is absolutely fervent and going after and really believing. And it's not even about money. Money is cool, but money is not the primary factor that then drives people like Tom Homan to be successful. I believe that he is truly passionate about what he believes in, and he really believes in America. And you need those type of people on your team. He has the credentials. He has the background. He knows what he's doing. He's running it up. Trump picked the right person as the borders are. And I don't understand how people are impeding. Why would you tip off a criminal that the federal government is going after, an illegal migrant that the federal government is going after, that they're about to go here? Why would you do that? Why would you do that as a ride-along partner? Why would you do that as a reporter? Why is Brandon Johnson? Because I recently seen reports of him saying that basically Trump holding sanctuary cities accountable actually hurts our humanity. He said it hurts our humanity. Why would you actually do that? Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read a couple more super chats, and then we'll move on to the next part of the show. Shout out to Pan-African BMG Tau Patriarch says, real submission is no democracy. Patriarchy is his table. Shout out to you. I appreciate you for holding me down, and thank you for the 50 ball, big dog. Dems want media blackouts to control the narrative. J-Dub says, why is brother looking like broccoli with that hair? And then Deetra Smith says, did your wife have a good time shopping yesterday? She is a stylish and beautiful chocolate woman. May you and your family continue to be blessed. Well, apparently I was looking at something that somebody said about me the other day, and they said that I had a white woman. They said I had a white wife, or let me revise that. I want to be honest. I want to be transparent. They didn't exactly say it like that. They said, I must have a white wife. People like me, usually we have us a snow bunny as our wives. That's what they said about me. That's what they that's what they indicated. And so I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. I don't know what that is. I don't know why. How come the blackest leaders are never married to y'all? And you got to remember, I believe that anybody should be able to go where they want to go when they want to go. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that people should be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. But I'm always trying to figure out, how come the people that preach it the most are never the ones that actually implement it? We was having that conversation on Monday at the end of the show, and I said, how come I'm more pro-black in the way that I operate in my life, who I marry, who my employees are? And again, I'll hire anybody that can do the best job. But who my employees are and all of this stuff. But then the people that are pro-black, all they do is take, and they don't put nothing into their communities. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. Last thing I want to talk about is free spending in the world is coming to an end. All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. If you are not a part of the Patreon, if you have not subscribed to the Patreon, if you haven't subscribed to the Millionaire Morning Show, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. And then subscribe. You just hit the button and then turn on your notifications with the bell. And that way you know when we go live on a regular basis. If it's your first time here, just hit a like for the algorithm. That's your reasonable expectation for being in here. And let's go from there. So I got some words that I want to share with you guys. But first, I want to play this quick clip, and then we're going to come back to it.
Welcome to the show, Forbes media chair and editor-in-chief Steve Forbes. Steve, so given what you just heard Democrats and the media wildly claim that the world is coming to an end, that Elon Musk is stealing money. But Joe Rogan says Doge has not even gotten to the big things like the massive waste in Medicare and Medicaid and CDC, contracts.
No, the world that's coming to an end is the free spending world that the Democrats have reveled in for decades. And the fact that Elon Musk has the capability and knows how to hire the people who know how to read what is being spent is finding these things that would have been buried for year after year after year, going in detail that had never been gone into before. And on Medicare and Medicaid, yeah, the government has actions against the fraud, but they're very inefficient. They get a few billion a year, whereas the number you pointed out previously is upwards of experts estimating $100 billion a year. And Musk knows how to ferret out that kind of waste, which has never been done before.
We've got news coming in. Top Democrats David Axelrod, Obama's top advisor Rahm Emanuel, the spokesperson for First Lady Jill Biden, they're saying Democrats should stand down on this. They say, yes, cut waste. We found nearly $1 trillion went out the door under Biden in wrong payments. Jared Moskowitz, top Democrat, also agrees. He says Trump, Musk, and Doge should cut waste. But what do you make of this, that the Doge team is going to look at the FAA to try to stop near misses? There are 300 of them, I think, over the last several years, including that fatal D.C. crash over the Potomac River. What do you make of Doge looking at the FAA?
It's high time that the FAA was looked at. Amazingly, Liz, the United States has a grossly outdated system, the worst among developed countries in the world. We're still using pieces of paper in the control tower that countries like Canada got rid of with supercomputers years ago. We're not going to get rid of this paper system until now the 2030s. So there's gross inefficiencies. And I think Elon Musk is going to conclude we should do what other countries have done, take the air traffic control system out of politics with the FAA and have a separate corporation devoted to making the system better. 60 countries have done it, starting with New Zealand years ago. We're way, way behind it, and we're paying the price for it in inefficiency and, sadly, tragedies at the airport.
So here's my thing, and here's what I want to say. And I think that clip perfectly summarizes what our problem is here in the United States of America. And the biggest problem that we have is that we got traitors. The biggest problem isn't overspending. The biggest problem isn't Black women. The biggest problem isn't DEI. The biggest problem is that you have traders. And when I say traders, I'm not talking about traders, day traders, stock market or nothing. You have traitors, people that want to see America burn, people that completely are against this country. A lot of them are Black. Some of them are white. Some of them are of all different races and creeds. But you see people that don't want the best for America. And largely it comes from traitors. It comes from people that no matter how well Trump do, I just looked at this Doge power clock. Somebody said it in the chat. And I said, you know what? I got to show this because I didn't even know that this existed. And now that I know that it exists, I got to share this, right? They have a Doge, a Department of Government Efficiency live tracker. For those of y'all that may not be familiar. This is the Department of Government Efficiency Live Tracker, where it basically showcases and highlights the date that Doge is going to end. So remember when Vivek Ramaswamy says, hey, listen, we actually want the Department of Government Efficiency to go away. And so the plan is for on July 4th, 2026, roughly 2.5 years from now, or I'm sorry, 1.5 years from now. That's crazy. They only plan on being here for about 18 months. So about 1.5 years from now, they plan on trying to find an annual savings of about $2 trillion. And then it goes through and it breaks down exactly how far away from the goal is. So that's what you see at the bottom. This 0 to 2 trillion. So far, in less than 3 weeks, they've already found and eliminated and saved $32 billion, and they have 512 more days. $32 billion in total savings, $215 per taxpayer, and they only had 1.6% of their total goal and 44 total initiatives. So this Department of Government Efficiency Live Tracker basically breaks down, and I'm assuming that they're going to have even more transparency as they go through it, but it goes through and it shows exactly how much government waste at your expense we have been experiencing inside of our federal government. Inside of our federal government. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to cut off giving money, free money to all of these people all across the world. I have never been more proud to be an American. I have never been more proud to be experiencing what we've experienced today. I said when we first started getting into this that we were going to have a phenomenal and awesome experience, and that now we can now get to the point to where we can get to a level of transparency. In order for us to do that, it's going to be uncomfortable for a little while for some people. Some people are going to be uncomfortable because they're going to have to get off the nipple. They're going to have to grow up. The government can't subsidize your house no more. The government can't subsidize your lifestyle. You can't just make dumb decisions and go and get bad degrees that don't pay no money and then expect for the taxpayers to be able to bail you out. Because when Biden was trying to give out all of that money, he wasn't giving out his money. It wasn't coming from his bank account. It wasn't coming from Hunter Biden. It was coming from us. It was coming from us. It was coming from you and me. We grind all day, every day. We hustle, we work, we go get it. We take care of business. We pay our taxes. We pay sales taxes. We pay property taxes. We pay payroll, income taxes. We pay all kind of tax. We so taxed. And then you know what they do? They take our money and they give it to other people that don't even deserve it. Your school can be falling apart. Classroom sizes ballooning to 45, 50, 60 students in elementary school. This is what we've been experiencing inside of this country. Chicago is the biggest example of it. Chicago is a biggest example of it. And we've seen so much waste, so much disrespect, so much foolishness in this country that now it's just become a norm. We think that this is our norm now. And it shouldn't be. It absolutely shouldn't be. And so the free ride is over. Everybody gonna have to come up. Everybody gonna have to take care of themselves. Y'all want it to be equal. Y'all, no, you didn't. See? You thought that equal meant that you was going to be subsidized for the federal government from the rest of your life. Nah, that wasn't what equal meant. God say, be careful what you ask for because I might give it to you. And so when you ask to be equal, now you got to get out there and hustle like us. Now you got to grind like us. Now you got to make money like us. Now you got to take care of yourself like us. Now when you get a layoff, it ain't no safety net. Either you're going to have to sink or swim. That's correct. If you want something out of this world, you got to work for it. No more handouts. I don't even want a handout. I don't want nobody to give me nothing that I don't earn and that I don't deserve. I don't want anybody to give me anything that I don't earn or I don't deserve. I'm not interested. Because then that means that you got one up over me and I owe you something. And the one thing that I learned from interviewing Fleece Johnson is you never want to owe another man anything. Even the Bible. Even the Bible says, oh, no man, nothing. And the United States of America is closed for business. We don't owe anybody anything. I don't care what these raging liberals are telling you. I don't care how much they protest. I seen that thumb. Anton, what do you mean by a thumb? Maxine Waters. I seen that thumb out there. She was out there looking like this. She was looking like the other side. She was looking like this. She was looking like a knuckle. This is Maxine Waters. She was out there. We won't allow Elon Musk to take over our governor, our government, our government. I said, is that a raisin out there? She need to be in the house. She ain't no better than Biden. Remember when Biden was, we was like, oh man, Biden, Sleepy Biden. That's where Sleepy Joe came from. Sleepy Biden, Sleeping Joe. He ain't out there. She was out there. No, we won't go. We won't go. I said, she don't even know who she is and where she from. She out there looking like a knuckle, a burnt up raisin knuckle. She need to get out there with Biden and them. Then please, I see you, Cabo Hustler, says Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton got paid for so fast that y'all forget that Al Sharpton got $500,000 to interview Kamala Harris. If that's not the biggest form of money laundering, I don't know what is. Y'all followed Al Sharpton into Costco, and Al Sharpton got $500,000 of y'all money that y'all donated over to Kamala Harris just to interview her, and that's only what we know. That's only what we was able to source. That's the only thing that we was able to find because they had to give campaign records to show you where the money is going. This man is a paid op. He's a paid op. These people have been finessing y'all. Did y'all know that Angelina Jolie got, I believe, like $8 million from the USAID in order to take pictures with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, in order to make him more likable? Did y'all know that? And y'all saying that we should continue to do this? They said that Angelina Jolie. No, let me see if I can look this up. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. Who knows? Allegedly, USAID is being reported that they gave Angelina Jolie, allegedly that they gave Angelina Jolie monies in order to take pictures, or that USAID funded Angelina Jolie's Ukraine trips. That's what's being reported. I don't know if it's true. Who knows? Who can say? This is what it's saying. It says USAID is being reported that USAID paid actress Angelina Jolie $20 million on visits to carry out their visits to Ukraine. It was reported by EA Daily, a news site and a publication. I have no clue. I do not know. I cannot substantiate that, but that is what is going around. But the possibility of this even being a thing is crazy to me. The possibility of this even happening is crazy to me. And then people like Oprah will say, no, I didn't get paid a dime. Your production company got paid $2 million in order to put on that thing. Anyways, the point is that I believe that this should have happened a long time ago, that we need to cut y'all off the nipple. For all of y'all that are complaining, we know who the bad actors are. For everybody that feel like they got hit, the hit dog hollers. We're not going to continue to subsidize your lifestyles. You're going to have to get it where you live like everybody else, and we need to go ahead and run that up. All right? So listen, those are my thoughts. I appreciate over 5,000 on YouTube that stayed with me this entire live stream, and this is the greatest show on earth. We got after hours tonight. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get some work done, and I'm going to get some fun in the sun. Y'all want to see what I'm looking at? I'll show y'all what I'm looking at. Give me a second. Give y'all a little bit of the view that I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at out there. A little bit of fun in the sun. We're going to head out. You see the construction workers over there? See the water out there? We're going to go ahead and get some fun in the sun, all right? So I'm going to go down to the pool and work for a little bit. It is 80-something degrees out here, bro. 80-something degrees. It's 80 degrees here, bro. Anyways, I'm about to go and get some fun in the sun. It's a pool right below me where I can get some drinks. And we're going to have a good time, all right? So I don't know if I'm going to be back in the studio on Monday or what, but I will keep you guys updated and in the loop. And then in addition to that, I love you. I appreciate y'all. Let me read some of the super chats. And then we're going to rock out. That was the ultimate sermon. Thank you, Me University. I appreciate you. You're a blessing, bro. Shout out to you. High Tolerance says, salute AD in the bag chasers. Slide to the Green Street Cafe in Coconut Grove. They never disappoint. Coconut crusted French toast. Okay. All right. We'll see. I think Doge is a trial run to see how efficient it will be within a 2-year time frame. It is proving very effective. I think that it will extend for another 2 years during Trump's presidency. Night J says, Dems don't get it. We accepted this when we voted for Trump. This includes some .gov workers. We got to tighten our belt to give our kids a chance. What the government giveth, the government can take it away. Thoughts on Trump launching the Office of Faith and appointing Pastor Paula White AD to the head of it? I haven't deep dive into it yet because I've been so busy just kind of enjoying the weather. But I'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. We need borders like North Korea. And yep, laundering and bribes AD. Did you know that the DC council member Trayon White got expelled the other day? No, but I knew he was under investigation. Shout out to you. I appreciate you again. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And we're going to run it up. We're going to take care of business. After hours tonight, I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.